Joining us now is Jon Meacham, Rogers Distinguished Professor at Vanderbilt University, and Jackie Alemany, Washington Post White House reporter, who will be joining MSNBC as Washington correspondent and co-host of The Weekend starting next month. Welcome to the team. We're so happy to have you, Jackie.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, let's talk about tonight, Jon. What are the stakes for Trump? He has to justify what I think we could mildly call a shakeup of the federal government.
I think mildly, that's a good adverb. He has consistently not sought to add to his support, right? He has been sufficiently happy to govern with a base of support that's a hardcore base, and then about 15% or so of the country that are Republicans who have voted for him, who stand with him, even if they might disagree with a lot of the tone and the tenor. So the question is, most of the time when presidents go to that chamber, they go to declare war and to celebrate peace, to lay out agendas for the country as a whole. An interesting test will be whether President Trump has any interest at all in even rhetorically nodding toward moving beyond that 49.9% of the country, which is not 50% of the country.
Yeah, and you're right, of course. I mean, traditionally, a joint speech before Congress to the American people is meant to assure them your government is working for you to make your life better. That clearly is his challenge today. We played this sound earlier, Jon, but I want to play again a couple of things that were said by members of his administration, including what should be done about the high price of eggs.
How do we, in our backyards, we've got chickens too in our backyard, how do we solve for something like this? And people are sort of looking around thinking, wow, well, maybe I could get a chicken in my backyard.
We have taxpayer dollars. We have a fiscal responsibility to use taxpayer dollars to pay people that actually work. That doesn't mean that we forget our veterans by any means. We are going to care for them in the right way, but perhaps they're not fit to have a job at this moment.
So maybe veterans are not fit to have a job, and if eggs are too expensive, maybe get a chicken. If this is a reflection of the approach of his administration, Jon, is it possible for tonight's speech to make people feel better about what the polls, and I mentioned this, are showing already, that there's growing concern?
No, I don't think so. I think we live in this incredibly polarized time, as we all know. People wake up every morning, and too many of us want to judge what unfolds not by the merits of what is said or what is proposed, but by the person or the party that proposed it or suggested it. And so the president has consistently now, in his fifth year as president, non-consecutively, always insisted that whatever he says at a given moment is the gospel truth. And so what we're going to see, I think, politically, is whether the forces that propelled him to the pinnacle again. And I think without much dispute, we can say that that is inflation, that was prices, a global phenomenon, by the way, but politics is politics. You pay a price for it at home. Will that maintain a level of support that enables him to accomplish all the things he wants to accomplish?
I mean, Jackie, arguably, the president goes into this having had, again, I'm going to put it mildly, having had a rough day. The stock market tanking. It looks like the trade war is escalating in ways that maybe could not even have been anticipated. There's still an issue between him, clearly, and Volodymyr Zelensky. House Minority Leader Jeffries is calling for Democrats to have a strong presence tonight. He said the House as an institution belongs to the American people, and as their representatives, we will not be run off the block or bullied. But how does that translate tonight beyond Alyssa Slotkin's rebuttal?
Yeah, Chris, well, we know that many of the guests the Democrats have invited to attend with them tonight are former federal workers who have been fired, along with other people, disabled veterans, for example, whose services have been cut off from the federal government because of actions by the Department of Government Efficiency. And so you're going to see Democrats try to highlight that. But as some Republican strategists have told the Washington Post in the past few days, this is not the moment for Democrats to try to steal the spotlight with any antics, but rather, have this more quiet presence and approach, and to sort of let the message come through by simply having the presence of these guests. And it is going to be a dramatically different backdrop than we're used to seeing over the past few years. Donald Trump does, at the end of the day, have a trifecta. There's going to be 2 Republicans seated behind him. There's no doubt here that Republicans are there. This trifecta is running Washington, D.C. at the moment. And so I think you're going to see Democrats sort of take a lower profile, especially as they're sort of developing a message coherence here and kind of figuring out the most effective way to break through the deluge of news and Trump-dominated headlines.
John, and I know you don't have a crystal ball, although you are often prescient. With Donald Trump, there's the written word, right, in a speech like this. And then there's the ad libs, the tangents. Although, to be fair, I think in States of the Union and in addresses to Congress, he's gone off script probably a little less than normal. But when I heard Justin Trudeau address the American people about retaliatory tariffs today, and he said to the American people, your government has chosen to do this to you. My mind goes back to Friday when President Zelensky stood up to Donald Trump and wonder how much